Thank you for joining us on Guard Life Flourish. No matter if it's your guard life or your home life, the goal is that we flourish. Today, I have a special guest, Colonel Dan Waters, and I'm really excited about him being here. Thank you, sir, for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
I know you're a busy guy, and I couldn't thank you enough for making time to be here today.
Well, I'm never too busy to spend time with you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Right on. I think I don't think that you would disagree with this, that there's a huge buzz around the National Guard, specifically the Nevada National Guard, both north and south, about this thing called Purple Resolve.
Yeah, we're very fortunate the program has kind of taken off. It's ignited a passion within the organization, and you alluded to it, not just here in the Nevada National Guard, but we have several other states. As a matter of fact, we're going to do our first program in April with National Guard Bureau in general, and the actual Vice Chief of Staff for the National Guard Bureau. So this is a great opportunity for us, and we're really looking forward to helping people out.
Yeah, I agree, and it's so exciting. Let me ask you this. This was something, 14, 16 months ago that didn't even exist. It was a brainstorm. Kind of walk me through just briefly how that happened.
You're exactly right. General Barry, first of all, I'll digress. There's an organization at National Guard Bureau called the Warrior Resiliency and Fitness Innovation Incubator. In that division, they're actually led by a 2-star admiral, and General Barry wanted a program, and I hate calling it a program because we'll kind of get into that.
Yeah.
But he wanted a program because he had identified a shortfall within the organization.
Yeah.
And a shortfall is kind of a strong word, but he wanted to take the organization from a compliance-based organization, one that's extrinsically motivated, to a commitment-based organization, one that's intrinsically motivated. So when he and I first talked, it wasn't going to be specifically about the culture. We were kind of looking at a resiliency program, and it expanded from individual resiliency to collective resiliency to a culture program. Yeah. And frankly, it was as we expanded our own knowledge of culture and resiliency, individual and collective, like I say, and how to get there.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of research on it, and I came up with some research on collective resiliency, so organizational resiliency, and obviously for collective resiliency, a foundation of that, the building blocks of collective resiliency is individual resiliency. And so how could we develop something that specifically had both?
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate when I came back from a 3-year European tour. One of the first programs that General Barry was putting on was a program called Blue Courage. It was specifically designed for law enforcement, but obviously it had some pieces in it for public service. And so based on my research, I was able to reach out to the Blue Courage team, Mr. Michael Neela and his staff, and we came together with Purple Resolve, and it has been a labor of love.
Yes.
There's a lot of work behind it, like you said, but 18 months ago, this didn't exist.
No.
And so getting it approved, so we had to fill out an application for it. So all the research I did, I couldn't do that with Blue Courage. It specifically was forbidden to work with a contractor at that time. So I did all the research on the background. I wrote the application for it. We were fortunately approved.
Yeah.
And then that's when I reached out to the Blue Courage team, as a matter of fact, and we started developing Purple Resolve.
It's crazy. I mean, really, I think to myself, with 18 months ago, I was deployed.
Exactly. When we first did the program, you were deployed. Yeah.
And I remember getting emails from you, and I'm thinking, wow, this seems awesome. And I never knew or even thought that it would be to the level that it is today. And I'm not belittling your work or anything like that, but I'm just saying, let's go down that program thing for a minute. I thought that this was another program. I got to be honest with you. I'm not disrespecting or throwing any program under the bus. But Purple Resolve is not a program. Purple Resolve is a culture. It's a human growth tool.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life.
It helps us on our journey.
Yes. So my question to you would be, if you had to describe what Purple Resolve is to those who are like, what's this Purple Resolve thing?
There's a lot
of that.
What do you say? What I really like to do is let's start off with the golden circle. Let's start off with why.
Okay.
And so we're talking Simon Sinek, start with why. And it comes back to exactly what I was previously stating was, if we want to change the culture from compliance-based to commitment, How do we do that?
Yeah.
Well, we have to build trust within the organization. So very quickly we realized to build trust within the organization, we had to have the right culture within the organization. And that's where I was saying before, we moved from one that was exclusively, I should say, resiliency,
Yeah.
to one that included resiliency, individual and collective, and the culture aspect of it.
Yeah.
So why did it come down to it? If we're the organization we say we are,
Yeah.
if we're the representatives of the United States and the United States military is consistently voted one of the most trustworthy organizations in the world,
Yeah.
we're having suicides, we're having sexual assaults, we're having sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Do we have an issue potentially within our culture? And so we did a deep dive. And frankly, we had to look at ourselves. I see you have the blue courage mirror there, and it does. It takes a lot of introspection to get to this level.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're at the end of the journey. As
No.
you know,
Yeah.
I think we're just at the beginning of it.
Very, very
It
beginning.
continues to grow. So what we did was reflecting on ourselves, reflecting on the organization. What did we need to do to improve that trust? So to get trust, and what I'd say very quickly is trust and culture are a symbiotic relationship.
Yep.
As the culture improves, trust is going to improve.
Yep.
And as trust improves, the culture is going to improve.
Yeah.
But somewhere we have to get into that cycle and affect one, lead one, and then the other's going to follow, and then we kind of build some momentum on the flywheel. And I'm stealing Mr. Covey's stuff
Come on.
at that point. So what we decided to do then was teaming with the Blue Courage team, develop a program that focused on culture but had resilience benefits to it. So, and it comes down to understanding ourselves, how we interact with our environment, how we interact with others. When I say environment, I mean our organization writ large. How I can affect others, how others affect me. Really, and you stated it before, it's a journey. We're trying to ignite a passion for service. The program, we talked about it. I hate calling it a program, but for lack of a better term.
We don't have another,
What we did was we want to excite that passion in people, the passion for the nobility of service, the passion for service and care to others. Because really, as you and I have talked about previously, and you know this is a big part of the program, and I don't want to steal from what I've got for future questions, because I really appreciate that. But how do we build that heart set mindset?
Come on. Yeah.
Within our individual soldiers, because what that does, expanding that, if you want to call it the circle of safety.
Yep.
Do people feel like they're included in the organization? They feel like they're valued in the
Sense of
organization.
belonging.
Exactly, belonging, connectedness. Because when we really started doing a lot of research on it, connectedness kept coming up. People want to feel connected to something. That's a primal cue motivator.
Yep.
That goes all the way back to the hunting gathering of humans first walking on the planet. Being part of that group, feeling they're valued, moving forward, and we wanted to make sure we had an organization, a culture that supported that. And if we had that, we could build trust. Trust is simply a biological reaction to somebody that's got my well-being at heart.
Yes.
So if we can develop a culture that supports that belief, then we start building momentum on that flywheel. And we had to start somewhere. So what we decided was how. We're doing it now. So why to the how. We decided the full-time force was the nucleus of our force, the nuclear mentality of our force. Because when a traditional soldier or airman shows up to the drill hall or shows up to their base, that full-timer is going to have so much impact on how they perceive the National Guard, whether that's Army or Air Guard. Do they feel included? Do they feel involved? Is this something bigger than me? To run after that sense of human nature that I want to be a part of something. I want to feel connected.
Yes.
So we decided to focus primarily on our full-timers. We're right around 200 full-time staff members right now that have been trained both Army and Air. We're very fortunate working with the state to get a grant, approximately $300,000. What we're going to be able to do is use that for state active duty money and start bringing our traditional soldiers and airmen into the process so we can expand it. So and that kind of goes into how we're going to do it again, and so what we're doing. So there's kind of a thought out there from my perspective, especially when I talk to people, that hey, I'm going to go to a class, I'm going to take a 2-day class, and I'm going to be purple resolved, and everything's going to be good. Exactly right. we have to disabuse people of that thought. Because really what it is, it's taking these life lessons, applying them in your professional life.
Yeah.
But bigger than that, and I'm stealing your stuff.
Come on.
You and I talk.
Still.
All this, we want them to apply it in their personal life.
Yeah.
Because if you look at how much I can influence, if I were a commander, as a brigade commander, really, I'm getting 25% of someone's free time. And that's a gross estimation, but when you look at the 4 weekends a month, they're giving me 1 weekend a month, 25%.
Yep.
How much can I really influence them? So what I want to do is I want to create the environment within our organization that is supportive. It's that nurturing environment while I'm giving the individuals the tools to build themselves in their private lives. Because as they can improve themselves in their private lives, they can apply these tools with skills. And we'll get into that. If they can apply these in their private life, they're coming to us even better.
Yep.
And then again, it starts that cycle.
Yes.
And it rapidly motivates, it rapidly builds, and it's that fire you're talking about. People are hearing about it, they want to be a part of it because they can see how it changes lives.
Man, you just brought up about 47 new questions that I want to ask you, but we don't have all that time. But I think that'll be episode 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever.
I'm always willing to come back whenever.
Thank you. I think that one thing that you talked about there is we definitely Purple Resolve wants to approach not just, this isn't just giving you skill sets and tool sets to be a better soldier, to be a better airman. This is something that's going to help you be a better dad, mom, husband, father,
exactly right.
On down the road. That's exciting, and it gives us hope, and it gives us energy. It gives families a common language to talk about, husbands and wives to be able to talk, having a common language. But here's the challenge. Man, we would love to close down life for a week and get every single National Guard member in and their spouses in to do this, to train this, to give them tools. We know that that's not practical. What, in your view, how do you see this being going forward in a manner that is A, contagious, B, also sustainable? How do you see that going forward?
Well, I want to make sure right off the bat that this doesn't become the standard requirement. As soon as it becomes a standard requirement, not a way of life, the program mindset, and that's why I'm always trying to avoid the program title, but it's very difficult to do.
It is very difficult.
But I go back to, and let me build a ladder for you.
Yes.
We talked about initially the tools, the program, Purple Resolve providing those tools, and then the skills to use those tools.
Yeah.
Then it becomes into the mindset.
Yep.
In the way, and I kind of work backwards on it than Mr. Neela. And the mindset is, am I looking out for myself? Am I looking out for others? What's the benefit to me, or what is the benefit of others? And obviously, from a Purple Resolve, from an organizational standpoint, we want an organizational perspective.
Yes.
And that leads into the heart set. And we always talk about this, heartfelt leadership, servant leadership, and that's exactly what it comes down to. If we can provide the tools, we can show the skills how to use them, provide the mindset, and then the heart set.
Yes.
But the heart set takes a lot of the individual, and it has to be supported by a culture.
Yes.
And that's where, to get at what you're talking about, we get a lot of feedback on, hey, as soon as my leader starts acting right, starts acting within the Purple Resolve principles, then I can act within the Purple Resolve principles. That's not the way the program is designed. What it's designed is those work centers, those centers of excellence, whatever their rank is, when they attend Purple Resolve, can you apply it within your own life, personal life and professional life, and starting to build nodes or pockets of excellence within the organization that then become connected to one another and almost create a supportive network within the organization, then becomes overwhelming that you can't stop.
Huge.
Because really when it comes down to it, when I talk to the boss, his whole direction is we want to make sure this culture is solidified enough that by the time he retires, it's unchangeable.
Yes.
It's irreversible.
Yes.
It's an indelible mark on the culture, on the very soul of the Nevada National Guard.
It's huge.
So even if someone were to come in, and let's say there was a toxic leader, God forbid,
Amen,
at a senior level, the organization could survive that and overcome in the long term and have a more infinite view than the finite effects.
So huge. And you talked about these pods of excellence, which is so fantastic and so exciting to think about, because what I heard you say was, stop pointing the fingers outwards. Fingers pointing back at you. This begins with you. Whether it's at your home life or it's your professional life, there's a circle of influence that you have as an individual, and as we identify what that circle of influence is, there's a lot of self-reflection, especially when it comes to that.
It's ironic that when you were talking, I was thinking about the
mirror.
Courage mirror. I was exactly thinking.
There's a
about
lot
that.
of self-reflection because so often we get caught up in that dynamic of if they'll change, if the culture would change, if this would change.
Things will only get better if they'll change.
Exactly.
I hear you.
But Purple Resolve to me, and what I hear you say is really challenges the individual. Hey, let's take a look inside and make myself better and work on being better myself. Why? So that I can help others be better around me, because it just kind of comes natural to me once I work on myself.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is empower individual change agents. What you don't change, you choose.
Yes.
And so if you feel the organization needs to go in a different direction, or maybe it's not a positive environment, maybe it's not that nurturing environment we talked about, then what can you do? What can the individual do to help what they can influence? Maybe I can influence at the 2-star level.
No.
Maybe I'm an E5 and I can influence. Maybe I'm a CW2 and I can influence at the 2-star level. But you can influence immediately within your reach, your work center, your pod of excellence, and then spread that out.
Yeah.
But it takes courage.
And it takes commitment.
Because if the organization, if you feel the organization is against you, and organization, I'm talking like the higher levels up, maybe they don't support Purple Resolve, this is a bunch of huggy-feely, kind of stuff. It takes courage to look beyond that and say, well, I'm still going to implement this as well as I can within my personal abilities to help the organization be the best it can be. Because why? Ultimately, when I say organization, it's not just some nebulous piece. It's the people that make up the organization. So I can help you, you can help someone else, and then it just spreads out from there within this degrees of social connection.
Huge, huge. Now, I could talk all day. This is good stuff. I love it. Thank you for sharing everything. I really don't know how much time we have left.
Neither do I.
There it is. Okay.
We'll just keep talking.
We'll just keep going. But we have several more minutes, so we're good to go. We're rocking.
The cuts on.
But I think that what I've heard you say is influence. What I've heard you say is pods of excellence. It gives hope. It sets up a resilience. Work on self. There's so much that it encompasses. Purple Resolve encompasses. I don't really think that if I challenge somebody and said, "Hey, narrow down Purple Resolve to one thing and tell me what it is," you can't do it. You really can't do it. But as we get ready to close to the end of our time together, I guess my last question would be this. Maybe it's not my last question, but here's another question.
Right.
To the sergeant, to the captain, to the like the CW2 you talked about, or the private, what's something that they can do in their life right now, no matter where they're at, in their seasonal life that they are at, that would implement Purple Resolve principles right where they're at?
What I really like you said in your statement, hope. Because let's talk real quick. We'll talk about leadership.
Let's do it.
Because as a leader, what are you trying to do? You're trying to influence people to do something that maybe they wouldn't do naturally. To overcome a fear or some type of obstacle that they wouldn't maybe do on their own.
Yes.
And the second, and you brought it up, is bring hope. Because I can say charge that machine gun nest, but ultimately as a leader, I got to give you hope that you're coming back.
Yeah.
Our plan is solid enough to where we're going to do the mission and we're all coming back safely, or we're all coming back together. I can't guarantee everyone's safety because it may be a dangerous mission. So to me, that's a critical piece in leadership development of what we're trying to do. So it's almost an augmentation. Purple Resolve is almost an augmentation to the professional military education or professional military training. So from the Nevada National Guard, what things do we value? How do we want to treat each other with respect, with dignity? Those are things that are easily implemented at any level. And when we look at the program in the long term, we're looking at possibly including Purple Resolve into our programs when people first come in the Nevada National Guard, whether that's Army or Air. This would be part of their training.
Yeah.
As you know, we're bringing in family members, so like you said, we can all start talking a common language. The public service doesn't end, I should say, with the public servant. Because you go home with the effects of public service, especially in the military or law enforcement, firefighting, stressful environments that can cause erosions on somebody's personality, on somebody's soul. Well, they're taking that home with them. We've heard that for a long time. Leave your personality at the door, and we know with Purple Resolve training, you can't do that. You're only one person. There's only one you. So bringing those family members in, allowing them to understand also while we're training the service members is huge. I mean, it's a multiplicative effect, and Colonel Klima came up with that idea, and I tell you, that's next level stuff. That's PhD level work when you start applying Purple Resolve. So there's not just me, there's not just General Barry, there's a lot of people involved in this. As you know, we're training master instructors at this time. We're trying to get instructors at the battalion level, the squadron levels, to ensure we're passing this on. As a matter of fact, the Intel Squadron for the 152nd, they've implemented a training program, Purple Resolve, within the squadron with their own instructors. So we're moving forward on several different fronts. And it's exciting to be a part of it, frankly.
It's so exciting.
It's an honor.
It's so exciting. I think that, in closing, I think that one of the things that's exciting that you just said is there's other units, there's other areas of the Guard that are implementing these things, and they're not even being told to. So those pods of excellence are already taking effect. And man, I can't wait to talk about this in a year from now to see where we're at.
That would be interesting. Oh yeah.
Sir, thank you for joining us today.
Well,
I know that you're busy, and I so appreciate it, and I just appreciate your hard work, your dedication, your commitment, your loyalty to all of this as we press forward. So thank you for being here.
Well, and thank you for what you do.
Well,
in the program and for our spiritual health throughout the entire organization.
I appreciate your encouragement because it's needed. Thank you.
Right
on. For those of you who are here with us today, thank you for being here on Guard Life Flourish, and I just really look forward to our future journeys as we move forward. If you liked what you saw today or like what you heard, please give us a thumbs up and like that button. Also, subscribe. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, or if you have any ideas about future things that you'd like to know about or interviews that we could do, leave them there too. Until next time, thanks for joining us.